A Gaston County man who was wrongfully convicted in the 2008 murder of UNC Charlotte student Irina Yarmolenko is filing a federal civil rights lawsuit now against the city of Mount Holly and former investigators. Mark Carver claims that DNA evidence was manipulated and exculpatory information was concealed.
Carver served more than 8 years in prison before his conviction was vacated in 2019. He now seeks damages, asserting violations of his 4th and 14th Amendment rights. Carver maintains his innocence, alleging crucial evidence was either fabricated or withheld by law enforcement.
Joining us this morning to talk about this years-long case, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, good morning. This is not to point fingers or to try to say that Carver's defense team 8+ years ago didn't do their job, but as we're looking at and talking about it, Julian and I we've been dumbfounded is the word that we're coming up with. If you are his defense team trying to go back 8 years, what was missed? It just seems like there wasn't a lot of defense happening.
Well, it's a few things, and so you got to look at this. I will tell you this: most of the time, as a defense attorney, I say all the time, I tell clients that I don't bring the facts. You bring the facts to me. I deal with and work with the facts that are given to me. And so, a couple of things that they mentioned in this civil complaint is that the facts were misrepresented, disregarded, and manipulated. And so if you're given discovery, yeah, you'll go out and hire your own private investigator, and I do that. But the DA's office, most of the time in the investigatory agency, will deliver to the defense attorney a plethora of discovery being whatever evidence they have in the case. And so if you're receiving this evidence and it's misrepresented, manipulated, then you're going to go off of the evidence that you have. Now, if you start attempting to connect the dots and say, well, hold on, how come this turns out and this doesn't add up and these numbers aren't, something is not jiving right with what you're giving me, that process is hard to do in real time while attempting to defend him. That's why we have appellate attorneys. Appellate attorneys do that work after. You preserve the case while you're defending that person with the facts that you're giving. And if your investigator finds something out during that process, they're like, okay, there's a red flag. But if there's no red flags given, what you guys are talking about is something called ineffective assistance of counsel. The standard for ineffective assistance of counsel is basically your attorney has to be like drunk at the desk with you at trial. They're showing up and they're falling asleep. The witness is up there talking and they're not paying attention. They're not asking any questions. They're not having meaningful communication with you as the client to describe to you what the facts actually are. So that standard is extremely high. I used to teach ethics. That falls under the rules of ethics for attorneys. And so for me, that standard is so high that I didn't see anything in this case where they were ineffective. What I can tell you is that I saw manipulation. I saw from these facts that have been presented in their complaint that there were a number of things, and that's why this complaint is brought towards the city, towards the investigatory agencies, because they believe that those folks did things to disregard the proper rules of conducting an investigation and standard of review for a police officer.
Okay, so Khalif, that's where my question is, because as investigators, detectives, you have to have a feeling that the person that you're questioning and you're taking to trial ultimately was probably guilty of committing this crime, right? So looking at what they had here that says that Carver was disabled physically and intellectually, and that medical experts could have said that it was impossible for him to commit this crime, on top of the fact that almost a year before the trial, there was DNA analysis methods published and updated that would have made the guidelines. None of the evidence presented at trial would have been matching Carver. So, I mean, isn't there some point where these investigators have to say, wait a minute, this isn't lining up. The guy we have here isn't the guy.
Well, the problem with a lot of that is that you can even go back to the way they captured and gathered the DNA evidence, because they didn't submit and give full DNA swabs and evidence to the labs that would run it. They weren't even able to get it conclusive, to rule him out or to put the finger at him. There are a couple of things when you look at this case that are missteps. And I mean, we can always Monday morning quarterback an investigation, but when you look at the facts, they're saying he was there that day fishing with a friend, recognizes there's an event happening kind of up the stream from where they're at, comes back because he left his fishing net, and at that moment gives them a statement. 5 months later, they go and talk to him, and they're looking at him like he's a suspect. That's problematic because he was there. He had a clear alibi to being there. But when you're looking at these cases, specifically on the civil side, because that's what this is, the criminal component's been done. He's already had that resolved. When you're looking at it on the civil side, what you need to remember is the standard is, what would an officer have done in that similarly situated situation? So these attorneys will bring in an officer that has done these type of investigations and will say, look, this is what I would have done based on the facts that I've had, and I wouldn't have went that route. It's always about standard. The closest analogy that I can give to this is like a medical malpractice. If a doctor's done you some harm or some wrong, you're going to have to bring in another doctor to show what the actual standard is and why they deviated from it.
All right, Khalif, we'll have to see what the damages are being asked for and where this goes from here. But yeah, interesting nonetheless.
Millions, for
yeah,
sure.
millions, yeah, I'm sure. All right, Khalif, thank you very much.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.